On July 6th, 2022, esteemed actor James Caan passed away. On this episode of How'd You Like That Movie will be a retrospective of his career while we discuss two of his films, 1981's Thief and 1990's Misery. Kris, you're making the big profits from my work, my risk, my sweat, but that is okay because I elected to make that deal. But now the deal is over and I want my end and I'm out.
I mean, I'm going to actually retort to that because his line is so awesome. He's basically like the joint of labor union. But you know what? I wear $150 slacks. I wear silk shirts. I wear $800 suits. I wear a gold watch. I wear a perfect D flawless 3-carat ring. I change cars like other guys change their fucking shoes. I'm a thief. I've been in prison. All right?
Hey, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of How'd You Like That Movie? As Scott said, we're going to be talking about two great films by the late James Caan. So, Scott, let's get into it. Take it away.
All right. So how do you want to do this? Like, you want to go like Thief, then Misery, like chronological upon release, or?
Yeah, we can do that, man. I mean, they're both, I think they're both fantastic films. So we can jump back and forth. We can talk, about budgets and stuff kind of as they come up and yada yada yada. So
all right,
yeah,
perfect.
Man, however you want to approach this, I'm down.
All right, perfect. All right, so first with Thief, I just want to say I really want to find somebody who looks at me the same way Willie Nelson looks at James Caan in that prison visit scene, because that, my friend, was fucking love.
Oh man, I went and looked. Willie Nelson has a shit ton of fucking acting credits. Like, I didn't realize that he had done so many acting roles, right? Like, obviously, like, I know him for being the country music sensation that he is. But yeah, and he was so great in this.
Yeah, like in reality, you only really had like 2 scenes.
I actually wanted more. I would have liked to see where that character goes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, first, like, we can do spoilers because these movies are like fucking 40 years old.
This is true.
Like, what fucked up hospital allows people to come visit somebody who's dying with their fucking like tools and blood? Like shit, just right beside them. I'm like looking at that. I'm like, yeah, I don't think any hospital, even in the fucking 80s, would be like, hey, listen, we gotta clean up.
I mean, we wouldn't do that now, but it's the 80s, so whatever.
Yeah.
Seriously, no, hold on. I pulled up, and including himself, there's like 30 fucking acting credits here.
So what do you mean?
Like Beer Fest,
like playing himself?
Sometimes playing himself. I mean, he was in Miami Vice as El Vijo. And
that's also a Michael Mann film.
That's right. That is a Michael Mann film. I mean, it goes back. His first role is the Electric Horseman in 1979.
All right. But yeah, this isn't a Willie Nelson episode.
With
so
fucking Robert Redford and Jane Fonda and directed by Sidney Pollack. That's a fucking dope film. Anyway, yeah, you're right. It's not a Willie Nelson
retrospective. Okay, so you like this film, right? Like, you like Thief. Is this your first time watching it? Because it was my first time watching it.
Yeah, it was my first time, and like you, I had to watch it on Tubi, which I don't know why you were complaining about the commercials. There was like 2. So it wasn't a big fucking deal to me. But I could not find this film anywhere. Like, I went on, obviously, the main streaming services. I went on iTunes. Like, I was going to, to Apple. I was just going to rent it or whatever. And I don't know why this film is not more accessible. This is a great, I bet you if I went, actually, I should have checked like Criterion or something like that, because it's definitely got that like indie vibe. I know that it's like a bit of a cult classic because, I mean, it's a solid neo-noir. Michael Mann, it's his first feature. And you can see, like, I mean, if you haven't seen Heat, go watch it. Oh, speaking of Heat 2, his novel just came out. So that'll actually be an interesting book to maybe pick up and see if he continues on with those characters. But you see the fingerprints of Heat in Thief. Like his cinematic. Go ahead. Yeah.
I was gonna say, this is his first. This is his feature film debut. And you can see his style kind of directing, but I'm gonna, in the words of somebody I know, like this is a 2 hour and 3 minute film, and I would edit some shit out.
Really? Okay, I want to know what you would edit out, because like I get the pacing's a bit slower.
Okay, well here for example, the first 10 minutes of this film, the first 10 minutes of this 2 hour and 3 minute film is them doing their thief scene, robbing some diamonds, and for 3.5 minutes I got to watch a drill go into a safe in 3 different angles. I got to watch it going from the top. I got to watch it going from the bottom.
But those camera angles are fucking great.
I got
those
to watch it like
angles.
straight.
Go ahead.
I agree, but I didn't need to do it for 3.5. Like that could have been a sweet ass fucking like Rocky montage.
It could have been a good montage. Absolutely. You know what? I will give you that.
That's when you need to put yourself to the test and show us a passage of time. We're gonna need a montage.
But that's the same thing. Like in that
all with
first
that
10
Tangerine
minutes.
Dream. Hold on. All with that Tangerine Dream electronic soundtrack that it has.
Yeah, but that's the thing. These first 10 minutes, not one word of fucking dialogue was said. Could you imagine being these actors and you're getting the script and you're like, okay, fade in, walking into bank. And okay, let me go to my next thing. And you're like, okay, I don't say a fucking word till page 15.
Well, what did you say? It was 3 minutes?
3.5 minutes. Just
so that's
the fucking
3.5 pages, 3.5 fucking pages.
But the first 10 minutes in total is this robbing scene, which not even one word of dialogue is spoken.
I mean, so if you think of like The Dark Knight, that opening bank robbery scene, which is awesome. I love that opening bank robbery scene. There's not a ton of dialogue there either, right?
But there's interactions from the clowns with the people, like they're talking.
Yeah, fair enough. Right?
Like this, I get it. It's like an overnight fucking theft scene. But
so I guess if we rob a bank, what we need, I've established with you is you want more conversations during the bank robbery. Like you don't want to just go and do the fucking job. We got to have some dialogue, or you're going to be sad and bored during the bank robbery. Okay.
Well, you'd figured these guys, like the first word that are said is like when it's over and he grabs the walkie-talkie and he's like, "Are we clear?" And they're like, "Yes." And then it's like 2 people nonchalantly walking out of the bank.
But what? No, I'm going to kind of push on you a bit though. What the fuck do you want them to talk about? So, you're drilling into the safe. So, how's the wife and kids? Like, she got into that school. That's great. Like, they're fucking professionals. They're robbing a bank. Like, there's an intensity to the fact that they're just there doing their jobs.
I 100% agree with you. I didn't think it needed to be 10 minutes though. It could have been 3 minutes in total.
Cut it out.
But yeah, and 80s and stuff, like the thing, like it was hard for me to watch is
okay, go ahead.
Was
the parenting? There was bad parenting.
I
thought they were good parents actually.
Whose parents would? Let's talk about their whole fucking relationship. He literally physically assaults her in a room full of people. Like, no, you're fucking coming with me. Shows a gun to a guy, and nobody's like, worried or calling the cops, right? The one thing I will say with Michael Mann, like he did like, what's it called? Block a scene. Like each person waiting for that cab was directly one step to the left, so each one could get caught while they're all raising their hands to go call that fucking one taxi that comes through.
Listen, man, I mean, it is the 80s. Remember when we did Over the Top and Sylvester Stallone, a child, escapes from a big rig, runs across traffic, a large burly man tackles him into the field. Nobody fucking stops. So that's the 80s, baby. That's how they rolled back then.
Yeah, but then I liked it. Like she was like, I don't want to be with you. I don't like you. I don't like you. And then 30 minutes into the movie, you're my man and I'm your woman.
Boom.
That was it.
It's because he wears silk suits and 800 silk shirts and $800 suits, and he's got a gold watch. That's why. That's why. Hey,
Yeah.
man, he took care of her though, and he took care of the baby. Like when he just like there was another interesting parallel between Thief and Heat. The concept of like, in order to be successful, you have to have no attachments. You know, that's De Niro's character really talks about that a lot in Heat, and that comes out like is very evident in this at the near the end when he's just like, well, he brings it up multiple times about like I got good, I was able to stay safe in jail because I didn't give a fuck. Like, it was fucking crazy. I'll fucking kill you. I'll do whatever I need to do. And at the end, you're seeing him just, you know, sever those things. And man, that fucking gun sight, that like gun shootout at the end, that was fucking awesome. I love that. Again,
That was,
very Michael Mann.
Yeah, that was Dennis Farina's first role, like first feature role.
Oh, really?
And that was him shooting James Caan and then getting blown to bits.
He did get blown to bits.
But I'll say this, like Michael Mann, like he is 100% well-respected director. Like he shits out more talent than I have in my pinky. But I would say to me, he's not a director. Like I find he's a cinematographer. Like he's all about the shots, right?
Okay.
And it all goes. And I would say this, like Heat is a great example because you keep on bringing up
Heat. It's too long though. It's too long. Heat is definitely too long.
Think about it. Heat is technically him redoing his LA Takedown TV movie.
Yep.
Which nothing got changed. Like it's all the same dialogue, all the same stuff. But he's
I think that isn't he a little more involved in that amazing robbery scene at the end? Isn't that more played out in the film than it is in the show?
Because he has a bigger budget now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So now he was able to get like these more more shots that he wanted.
Yeah, like cinematic.
Right? Yeah, things going on, right? And that's the thing, like, yeah, because with his films, like I don't think of them in terms of directors. It's literally like, fuck, that was a nice shot. Like even fucking he remade Miami Vice, and you're like, man, the shot with them in the dusk, going in the jet boats, just fucking driving to the next drug deal. You're like, fuck, that's beautiful, right?
What about Last of the Mohicans or The Insider? Like The Insider is 100% drama. Like that's a solid drama. Also, yeah, beautifully shot. He really likes to play with like shadow. I was going to say and light, but I mean, obviously you're playing with shadow, you're playing with light. The way he frames out a character, both framing it like with the physical space, but also with lighting. He does that a lot. Cause I mean, he also did he did Manhunter, which was the original
Red Dragon,
right?
Yes.
So, and again, and it's what's his name? Grissom from CSI.
Yeah, William Pedersen, I believe.
But he likes to play in that kind of dark, kind of gritty space, which is interesting because even Public Enemies has got that kind of dark kind of feel to it. But I don't feel that with Last of the Mohicans. And also, you know, there's something very problematic nowadays about seeing Daniel Day-Lewis play an Indigenous man.
No, wasn't he? He always. It's been
was
years.
Was he like a white baby taken in by a tribe, or I don't? You know what?
It was something like that. Yeah, it wasn't it kind of like Lawrence of Arabia, where it was like, you know, the white savior kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what makes it kind of problematic.
But what I was gonna say, Michael Mann does have a horror film to his credit. The film he made after this one, it's called The Deep, and it is 100% fucked up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like it makes no sense, kind of thing. Like it goes one way, and then it's just like we ran out of money, so they just like rushed it. But it is like,
and we're done.
Yeah, it is a weird movie to watch.
So it's interesting because he is very cinematic, and I'd have to look at who the DOPs were on those other films, including Heat and Public Enemies. But the DOP on this is Donald Thorin, and he did An Officer and a Gentleman, which is a great film. He did Lock Up, Tango and Cash, and Scent of a Woman, which, I mean, those are all, I mean, they're good films, interesting films for their own reasons, but none of them really strike me as being overly cinematic. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Except for
Yeah, I
Tango
just
and Cass.
expected
Come
after,
on.
like,
When they're when they're sliding in the rain out of the prison with their belts, man, that's fucking cinematic.
fair enough. I just mean Thief is so kind of like arty cinematically, and like you said, Michael Mann, it almost directs like the picture instead of
Mhm.
more story narrative, that I expected this DOP to go on and do much like more of that vein, right? But I mean, fuck it, he's working. Which is actually a really good. I have two quotes from this film, one about Caan and one about Michael Mann. So Kathleen Carroll from the New York Daily News said, Thief is loaded with striking night shots of back alleys and glittering skyscrapers. Thief has all the pervasive atmosphere of gloom that suggests it could have been the work of a European director, someone who is as much a master of his craft as Anthony. I don't know. I don't know how. I think that's spelled wrong. Anyway,
Like
yeah.
if you're gonna get a quote, man, at least like pre-read it so you can
Don't tell me how to do my fucking job. James Caan is fucking fantastic in this.
He is good.
I mean,
Accent and all.
accent and all. Yeah. I mean, he's probably the biggest. I mean, depending on your age, he's either the biggest known is probably for The Godfather or Elf. You know what I mean? Depending on what demographic you fall into.
But I would say our next film, Misery, would go up there in terms of his.
You know what's crazy though is a couple people I talked to, I was like, yeah, we're covering these two films, and they were like, oh, James Caan's in that. I'm like, yeah, man, he's like the fucking lead of the movie. So, you know.
All right, let's go on to Misery then. So in terms of Thief, you would say you liked it and people should watch it.
So yeah. Actually, my takeaway on Thief is definitely watch it, go find it or whatever. And in the next little bit, like maybe the next month, we're gonna have someone from the Princess Cinema on our show, and I'm actually gonna ask them to like, yo, can you get like a 35 millimeter print of this fucking thing and like play it? Because it's a travesty that more people are not seeing this film, and it's such a good like repertory theater neo-noir kind of film that it would be great to see it up on the big screen. So I'm actually going to pitch our guest on getting Thief in the theater. So
do it.
All right.
Yeah,
all right,
that's it,
so
man. That's what I got. So we're
yeah,
moving on to Ministry.
there we go. Misery.
Ministry of Sound.
Okay, so one, like this is a Rob Reiner film.
Yep.
And just like you're doing with Willie Nelson, I went back and look at like the films that fucking Rob Reiner has directed, and I was kind of thrown back at it. Right. So you got, hold on, let me add the list right here in a second.
Yeah, you got the whole list in front of you.
Yes.
Stand By Me. This is Spinal Tap.
Fucking Princess Bride.
Yeah.
Harry
like some
Met
of these
Sally.
like classic fucking films.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, and yeah, it's weird. Like thinking back, and I'm like, man, the guy from All in the Family did that. Like,
oh shit, that's right. Oh my god, I totally forgot about that fact.
yeah,
So-
no, yeah, like
Go ahead.
I don't think like in terms like when we talk directors, even when we're talking with other people or directors, like his name doesn't really come up at all, right? But he has like a fucking like good fucking filmography here that obviously he can be like super proud of. I think
100% he can.
I think
I
he's
don't
doing
think
the sequel to
anybody's saying
Spinal
that
Tap
he's
now too, right? He's filming that, I think.
Which part 2?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in terms of Misery itself, like this is a
So
good.
do you like Stephen King? I know we talked about this just briefly when we covered The Black Phone, because his son wrote he wrote an anthology that has that in it. What's your takeaway on Stephen King as a writer himself? Like, do you like his work?
Yeah, I do like his work. And that's the thing. Like, I think in terms of the adaptions, they are hit and miss. And usually the hits are the ones like this, where it's not supernatural stuff, it's not vampire, it's like the close to home. Like when you got Stand By Me, you got Shawshank Redemption, you got Misery, you got The Green Mile. Like his dramatic more takes that aren't really like horror, but
Yeah, because I would say Misery is 100% like a thriller, right?
Yeah, it's 100% a claustrophobic film, right? Like even from the beginning, like when it's like if you juxtapose the beginning of this film with the beginning of The Shining, right, where they're just driving to the Overlook Hotel and it's the
Yeah.
car on its own. This
Yeah.
one, it's him and his Mustang in that on its own in this huge fucking snowstorm that you're just watching get worse and worse, right, until it completely overtakes it. But this being a film from the 90s, it fucking does have the like set up suspense cliches that fucking still piss me off to this day. Like, if only that sheriff took one more step, he would have seen that tire in the snowstorm and they would have known he still would have been alive 3 months earlier.
You don't like that? Like,
no.
You don't, I mean, it builds tension, right? So that's the point of the fucking movie.
But it's still like, fuck, man. Like, what cop is like, okay, I'm gonna search, like, oh shit, now I'm gonna stop right here. There's a whole fucking forest in front of me, but I'm gonna stop right here.
Yeah, but isn't that because he
fell into the snow?
In the snow, that's right. So
yeah. And then his wife wanted to give him a handy on the way back.
That I actually really like them as that kind of comic relief. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you have all the tension that's going on with the two main characters, with Kathy Bates and James Caan. And then and it's super tense, especially as the movie moves along. And then you cut back to the sheriff. And like you said, his wife's like, what I really want is to be home under the sheets with the sheriff. Like, and he's like, in the car, we are, deputy and sheriff, not husband and wife. And she's like, oh, that fucking sucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it makes you wonder how many times they pulled over to just have a little quickie when they were younger, right? But it was weird, like looking at this, like, Kathy Bates was nominated for an Oscar for her performance.
She won the Oscar.
Yes, I was saying she was nominated, right?
And she won.
Okay, but I was just talking about in terms of nominations, like she was nominated.
Yeah.
James Caan wasn't.
No. He did a good job, though, man. He did a fantastic job. I mean, did you look up who was on the list for Oscars that year? Like, maybe there was like some super dramatic action that went down, and that's why he didn't get nominated, right? So
yeah, maybe, but I don't know. I didn't go into that details. It just surprised me that he wasn't nominated as well, like, or the film in general wasn't nominated as much, because this was the time where, and they haven't really done this a lot, where good fucking horror suspense thrillers, right, like aren't really nominated for Oscars. You had this film, and then you had Silence of the Lambs, and then after that,
hold on. So I pulled up what he was up against, right? So Kathy Bates wins Best Actress against Angela Huston for The Grifters, Julia Roberts for Pretty Woman, Meryl Streep for Postcards from the Edge, and Joanne Woodward for Mr. and Mrs. Bridge. So for Best Actor, though, so Jeremy Irons wins for Reversal of a Fortune, Kevin Costner, Dances with Wolves, Robert De Niro, Awakenings, Gerard Depardieu, Cicero de Bergerac, and Richard Harris, The Field. So that was the year. Oh, fucking, that's the Goodfellas year. Dances with Wolves sweeps the Oscars. So that's probably why he didn't get nominated, because and it could have been when the film came out as well, right?
Sure, if you say so.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
But there was one.
You're like, you pose this, question like it's
I would have taken
Secret
out
of the Sphinx. Like, I don't know, how could this not happen?
Yeah, but I would have taken out De Niro for Awakenings.
I don't know about that, man. Actually, isn't that the one with Robin Williams as well?
Yeah,
it's a good film, man.
I would have taken that one out. But anyways, there is a scene here that when we're talking about suspense that they bold up. There's a scene in this film that they added suspense to it, but ignored it right after.
Which is that?
So the scene when she brings in the barbecue and she's going to burn his new book.
Yep.
And then he's trying to play it off, but she knows everything about him. So they finally burn that book. And then when the papers like explode and they start going all up in the air, if you watch it, one of those papers ends up at the top of the curtains, while she's pulling out the barbecue.
Yeah.
And it literally looks like it's starting to ignite the curtain.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
And then, yeah, when she's coming back in, because it looks like it's just kind of one shot kind of thing. When she's coming back in, like that paper is gone and everything. But literally, if you watch like the 3 seconds while she's coming out, it starts to look like the fucking curtain is starting to catch on fire. And I was trying to remember because it's been like years since I watched this. I'm like, does she walk in and the fucking thing's on fire? Is that what? Because I remember there was a scene that brought the cops over, and I was like, was that it? Like with the helicopter, they saw the smoke or whatever. But no,
it sounds like the house, the set almost caught on fire.
Yeah.
This is what has actually happened. This actually has like amazing cinematography, like the use of low angle shots. They also use often like Dutch angles, so the camera is pitched to the left or to the right. I felt like almost fisheye lenses at points. Like they really make her look like kind of like creepy and up over the top of the camera lens, which gives her this really powerful and demented. Kathy Bates 100% deserves the Oscar too, because her ability, like this is acting, right? Like the ability to go from like neutral or happy and pivot and be like maniacal, like both like angry and just like psychotic, like, and it's in every part of her body, like almost frothing at the mouth, bulging eyes, and then, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry we did that. I know it's a visual medium. It's not a visual medium for those not watching the YouTube channel, but like just that fucking gear change, flawless, absolutely flawless. Like,
yeah, but again, being there's a lot in this film that, you know, is done, but it's never followed through, right? Like if you think about it, at the beginning of this film, she deadlifted James Caan onto her shoulders and fireman carried him.
And carries through the snow.
Right? Like you were physically watching it. And then she's having problems when they're fighting. Like, and he's still has.
But remember, he's been working out. He's been working out with the typewriter, right? He's getting all fit. That would have been, imagine throwing in a montage there. To Liberace.
But yeah, like so that was the thing I was kind of laughing at. I'm like, how the fuck does she deadlift this guy and then like can't just carry him, like throw him across the room?
Again, that fight scene was fucking savage, man. Like,
yeah.
The first bit, it takes a bit of time, right, to kind of get into the film. And then, but like once things start happening, like then it's like one on top of each other, her on top of him on top of her, fucking people getting smashed in the head, people getting shot with shotguns. It was fucking awesome, man. Like I really enjoyed this film. I really enjoyed the acting in it. Everybody did a great job. A little bit of King Caan. So Richard Farnsworth, who plays the sheriff, if for those of us that are a bit older here in Canada, you'll remember watching Anne of Green Gables, and he was like he played the uncle or whatever in Anne of Green Gables on the TV show that was made by like, I don't know, CBC or something, right? So classic Canadian television.
I didn't watch it. That was some good Caan.
You've got to watch it. Listen,
Sarah Polley, right?
No, she came after. I'm talking like the old school, like 80s Anne of Green Gables.
Didn't Sarah Polley play Anne?
Okay, we're gonna have to pull this up now. Actually, maybe we can get our producer if he can look up Anne of Green Gables from the 80s, and Sarah Polley was in one of them. I just not sure which one. I don't think it was the one that I watched, but maybe. I was a kid. I don't really know. So if we can get our producer to check that out while we're going on here. The leg breaking scene in this film, or the ankle breaking scene, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
I cannot fucking watch that. Like I have to be like, good. Oh man, it's so, and the camera stays on it.
Yeah, just on the one leg though.
Yeah. I mean, if you saw one, I'm pretty sure you know what's fucking.
Oh, you kind of wanted to see the two. You wanted to see them both.
God, I love you.
So Megan Follows is Anne in the original 80s version of Anne of Green Gables.
All right.
But I thought that Sarah Polley might have been in like Return to Avonlea or something like that. Yeah, anyway.
But
Is there anything you don't like about this movie? Like, did you like the film? Or?
I like Misery. I do like Misery. It's not one that I watch like repetitive but if it's on, I don't go out of my way to watch it. But if I need something to watch and I see it, I'll probably throw that on.
So if this was olden times and it came on a Sunday, boom, you're gonna watch
exactly it. Right. Like, just like Reed Hastings says, the way of natural TV or normal TV will be gone in 5 to 10 years anyway. So you're just gonna pick what you watch anyways. But but yeah, like it is good because it is such a good like I said, like it's such a good like enclosed like claustrophobic film because you feel it, like especially like him trying to get out of the house and being stuck in that house the whole time, like you're cheering for him when he's just like, I got a fucking hairpin and I'm gonna use that to unlock the door.
Yeah, man, he like MacGyver's everything.
Yeah, but you already knew once he put that fucking penguin the wrong way. You already knew from the beginning.
Just the fact that the camera sat on there for you to see it the wrong way, right?
Yeah, I'm like, oh man, you could tell she is like an anal retentive person, that she knows the exact position for everything. And then when you hear her kind of explain it, like, oh, I've known for a while because of this, but I just was interested to see how you did it.
Yeah,
right?
And then I found out.
Yeah.
I am actually. I've checked on Audible and they have the audiobook. I'm definitely gonna like listen to the book or maybe even read it because I was like, man, and this is like the film version. Because I guess, for example, in the book, she actually cuts his feet off or something crazy like that with like an axe. Stephen King and his axes. But they wanted the audience, to have a little bit of pathos for Kathy Bates's character, right? So they're like, that's a bit too gruesome. Although I'm like, the sledgehammer on the foot, I don't know if that's much better. But I definitely want to go and actually check out the text because I can only imagine like Stephen King. This book has probably got some dope fucking writing in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, he is obviously fucking. He's Stephen King. You don't have to comment him. You just say his name, and people are gonna be like, yeah, he's good.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
Yeah, he's not too bad. I mean, it's got 90s across the board on Rotten Tomatoes. People fucking like this movie. I think it's a perfectly constructed film.
What about Thief? You didn't say Thief. What was Thief on Rotten Tomatoes?
Thief's got, I believe, a 71 from. It's got a 79 from the critics and an 81 from the audience.
Interesting.
And it's and they both kind of did. I mean, Thief had a budget of 5.5 million and it did 11.5 million at the box office. It didn't do tons at the box office, but it has become a bit of a cult classic. And then Misery was made on a $20 million budget and it did 61 at the box.
I remember that one taking everything by storm when it came out.
I'd watch it in the theater, man. Like, I mean, they have some really great cinematic shots of like the snow and the mountains, and again, like that claustrophobic camera work. I think it would be great to see on a big screen again. Like if they put it at the Apollo or the Princess Cinema, I would be purchasing a ticket to go see it. So
Do it.
All right, so that makes one of us, but okay.
You got anything else, or you want to get out of here?
Nah, I'm fucking done. But I do, both films are good.
No, I'm not your wife. I get you're done, but
yeah, I'm good. I just gotta roll over, get me a cigarette.
And I love you.
But yeah, both films are good. I would recommend them as well if you're looking for something to watch. But yeah, like Kris, don't be treating women the way Frank treats his women, man. That can be why you're still single, man.
And don't treat them the way that Kathy Bates treats James Caan either. I don't think they like that either.
I can see you being like, "Hey, I'm your number one fan." Like, what?
There's S&M, and then there's the next level, right? That's like fucking level 30.
But I will say this: like, if any film is ripe for a remake, it is Misery. And instead of a novelist, it's an OnlyFans person. And you're just like, I'm your number one fan.
Oh, just like Stalker-esque or whatever.
Yeah, there you go. Boom.
I don't know, man.
Call me
what I
later.
was thinking is like, I would like to redo Thief.
Well, if Michael Mann's, filmography is anything, he will redo it within 5 to 10 years. Right? He redid Miami Vice. He redid LA Takedown into Heat.
Yep.
So he's ripe. And then you get Scott Caan to play James Caan.
No, we're not doing that. Scott Caan is not a good actor. Scott Caan is absolutely not a good actor. He's definitely not as good as his father, and I wouldn't want to wreck the film by doing that. And when I said,
excuse me, have you seen fucking Varsity Blues? He is amazing in Varsity Blues. Varsity Blues is a fucking good movie. Fuck you.
And what
Varsity
I meant
Blues is a good movie.
By remake it, I meant me. I want to direct the remake of The Thief.
Oh yeah. You can't afford his licensing fees.
This is true. Well, yeah, because he wrote the screenplay, right? But it's based on a novel. Oh yeah, we didn't get to. I want to just say something about the novel.
Yeah, both films are based on novels.
Yeah. They are. But one we know about Stephen King. So Thief is both based on The Home Invaders by John Siebold, who was an actual fucking jewel thief that went to jail. Like, he is the character of Frank, you know what I mean? And wrote a book about it, and then he got a movie made, which I think is fucking awesome.
Yeah. So when they tell you crime doesn't pay,
you go, bullshit.
Yeah. Look at any fucking criminal who now has a book and made for TV movie. And that is our wrap for the day. Please like and subscribe to this podcast. Tell your friends. If you want to get a hold of us, reach us at the www.howdyoulikethatmovie.com.
Robert Brodsky was really good too. Honestly, I always remember him from being the TV vampire in Gremlins 2. That's always where I associate him. But he was dope as like the mob boss, you know what I mean?
Well, even still, like when because Gremlins 2 is 10, 12 years? Like he looks the same.
Yeah, he kind of looks like the same old man all the time, right?
Yeah.
I actually thought because of that Gremlins thing, I was like, hey, isn't that the grandpa from the Munsters?
Well, I think that's who it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what they're playing off of or whatever. Production by Rod Shaver, Vader Monkey Productions.